back to another weekly reading vlog. So I am 76 or so % of the way through To Have and to Hoax. I am listening to this as an audiobook and it is a 2-star read. It is not good. I do not care about either of the characters. So what it's about is this couple got married really quickly when they were very young. And so they were good for like a year, and then some argument happened and they've spent the last like 4 years of their marriage like never talking to each other. And the husband gets injured and she finds out through like a friend of his, and she gets super mad because why didn't he tell her himself? And so she decides to fake consumption to like get back at him and make him feel sorry for her and make him pay attention to her. And so that's kind of the whole hoax thing, is she's like pretending to be sick with consumption. And so they're both terrible people. She is definitely worse than he is, but it's like, I guess they're good together because they both suck, but it's like, I hate both of them. They're both very annoying, but it's entertaining only because the narrators, we have 2 different narrators, and because the chapters switch back and forth between the perspective of James, the husband, and Violet, his wife, but they have very over-the-top British accents, which makes the whole thing sound very like satirical and like, oh, blah, 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 kind of thing, which is fun. But I am not going to be sad when it's over. But I am excited to read the second one in this companion series, which is called To Love and to Loathe, because that one is supposed to be better than this one. But I was like, I know it's a companion series, but I still kind of want to just read the first one before the second. So that's what's going on with that. But like I said, I think I only have like 2.5 hours of it left, so I will finish that very soon. And then my main focus this week, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it in a week, probably not, but I have been reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. If you watched my November TBR, you will know that I'm having a little bit of a Bronte sister November because I wanted to read this and then reread Wuthering Heights. But I'm not in love with this copy, to be honest. It's very floppy, but the pages are like so thin and it's just kind of annoying me. So I found a digital copy through Libby, so I've been reading it digitally and then just like a little bit physically, but anyway, you don't care. Point is, I am on chapter 9, page 93, so I'm like 15% of the way through the book, and I am really liking it so far. It took me a second to get into it, but now that I'm into it, I am really loving it. I read like, I think 80 or almost 80 pages yesterday. It's giving me Little Princess vibes so far, in the sense of like an orphan who's not having the best time. Also, I guess, like, Series of Unfortunate Events vibes, like the Austere Academy kind of vibes, but yeah, she's sent to this school and she's having not a fun time there. The school is not fun, the food sucks, like, it's very strict, so she's just kind of like putting her head down and focusing on her academics and stuff like that. So that's where we're at right now. I don't know when she's gonna get older. I'm curious because this is split into 2 volumes. So I'm like, is volume 1 her younger and then volume 2 is her older? It's just weird because whenever I heard of the story, I just figured she was always older. I didn't know it started out with her at like age 10, and now I'm almost 100 pages in and she's still age 10. So I'm just curious like how it's gonna switch. But anyway, I know nothing about this book besides character names and that there's something going on with like someone's wife in the attic or something, like a spooky gothic kind of thing. So that's all I know. So I basically know nothing, and I'm having a really fun time. So that's what I'm reading this week. I will keep you posted on how it's going. Hello. So this is not super related to books. Well, it's not at all related to books, but today is the next day. And I just had my weekly therapy appointment, and I just want to throw this out there. If like it resonates with one person, that if you have had bad like therapy experiences in the past, or bad therapists or therapists that just you didn't connect with, like, do not give up, because I love my therapist. And I was very hesitant to even try therapy again because of the experiences I've had with past people. And I feel really lucky and really grateful. And just to find someone who you vibe with is just the best feeling. And you don't necessarily have to, have something really serious that you're working on. Like, therapy's for everybody. It's never not a good thing, in my opinion. Coming from someone who is biased, I do have a master's in psych, like, therapy is a great thing, but I know it's not so great when you can't find somebody who you really connect with. So anyway, I just wanted to say, for anyone out there, please don't give up. Also, yesterday it was funny because I was thinking how I was 100 pages into Jane Eyre and she was still 10 years old. Where was Rochester? I was like, everything, the very few details that I know about Jane Eyre have like not even happened yet. And literally the next chapter was like, so that's the story of me growing up, and let's skip forward now. And I was like, right. So she still hasn't met Rochester yet, but she has heard of him. And I am eager to see if I ship them together or not. But I am, I think, 25 or 20% of the way through the book now. And I'm still liking it. It's just obviously like slower pace than I'm used to, especially because I read thrillers all the time, which are inherently more fast paced than like your average novel. So that's, I'm trying to adjust to that, because it's like I'm not disliking it because of the pacing or anything. It's like the pacing is just part of reading a story, like Jane Eyre. Surprise, surprise, it is a week later. Today's actually my wedding anniversary, and I'm excited because I think we're gonna get Thai food for dinner, and that's always a good time. Tavern to Hoax, I did finish that audiobook. I ended up giving it a 2. It was just like, it was no fun because both of the characters were so annoying. Like, I wasn't invested in anything that was going on, and in general, I don't know, that the period piece kind of things, which sounds ironic because I am reading Jane Eyre right now, but that's usually like not my vibe. And so I think, aside from this companion series, like I wouldn't go to pick up other romances that aren't contemporary, if that makes sense. So anyway, gave it 2 stars. I am currently 70% of the way through Jane Eyre. I have been mainly listening to it, but I've been like sometimes following along in the book, and I have had so many ups and downs with this story. I liked the spooky vibes and just like the time we spent with Jane, like when she first got to Rochester's house, and big party thing that he had thrown and all that stuff. I was down for that, but then the more it got into their relationship, I kind of didn't care because I kind of don't like them together. And their age gap, it's just weird. And I know, like, it's a product of its time and everything, but I don't know. I don't know if Wuthering Heights had this same, like, dynamic between, like, the couples. It might have, and it just didn't bother me as much in high school when I had read it. I guess we'll find out when I reread Wuthering Heights, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just finding it very hard to like want them to be together, and it kind of has like almost like a Beauty and the Beast kind of vibe to me, but like the not so great things about the Beauty and the Beast relationship. I don't know, it's weird. So, and then my other, okay. I do think Rochester is a really interesting character. He's probably my favorite character because he is complex. Like, there's a lot going on there, and I do like that. I'm just kind of annoyed at Jane. She has no spice. If she was in Divergent, she would be from the Abnegation faction. She is just so bland and is like, prides herself on being so bland. And so it's kind of annoying to be reading, you know, having her as our main character when there's so little spice to her personality and her interests. And so that's kind of annoying, and that's something that I hadn't expected. So right now, I think it's like a 3-star. Like, there are a lot of aspects I like about it, but Jane as a character, I'm like, I just don't really care too much for her personality. So that's where I'm at with that, but I'm hoping to finish it this week. We are getting pretty close. I feel like I've been reading it forever, but I think it's only been like a little over a week. And then I was looking through my holds on Libby, and I had like 4 days left on The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling, and I hadn't even started it yet, and I was like, should I just try to renew it, or should I just give it back and pick it up later? But I had looked on Goodreads and was like reading reviews of it, and I was like, you know what? This sounds really good, so I wanted to try and finish it before my hold lapsed, and I think I have 3 days left, so I think I can finish it in time. I am loving it. It is giving me very much Crimson Peak vibes. If you've seen that movie, it has the like dilapidated mansion setting. It has kind of an untrustworthy husband element. It has spooky ghost things happening, and I just love it. I literally love it. I think in a couple vlogs ago, I was talking about how much like I was obsessed with Crimson Peak and like the aesthetic and the vibes of Crimson Peak, and I literally found them in this book. So if you're a fan of that movie, I really recommend this book. I'm having such a great time with it. Yeah, I still don't know, like, as to the title, like what the title, how that plays into it, but I can't even summarize it. I don't even want to summarize it because, big surprise, I basically went into it not knowing anything, but just know it has those kind of like spooky atmospheric horror thriller type of elements. I can't talk today. Anyway, yeah, so that is what I'm reading currently, and right now, The Death of Jane Lawrence is honestly giving me 5-star vibes, which is very exciting. I feel like I've read more 5-star reads in the last like 3 months than I did like the entire first like half of the year. So anyway, that's the update. Hello. It's been a second since I updated. It is Sunday. I don't know when I last updated this, but I have been reading every day, just like haven't like been flying through things, but I have a very exciting announcement. As of like 1 minute ago, I finished reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This chonky glad took me 2 weeks, I think, 2.5 weeks, and I haven't spent that long in a book in a while, so like for me that really felt like forever, and like even though I was enjoying it, I was kind of like, okay, like hurry up. But I finished it. I ended up listening to most of it and like reading along with it as opposed to just reading it, because there's a really good production of it on Audible. I think I'm gonna give it a 3. It was enjoyable overall. There were definitely some parts that I just was really bored with or really annoyed by. It's crazy to think of like the beginning of this book, because this is like a 600-page book. Like, so much happens, but at the same time, the pace feels really slow. It does kind of feel like you could separate it. Hello? It does kind of feel like you could separate it easily into like 3 parts rather than 2. Yeah, I really liked the story overall. I felt a little conflicted about Jane. There were some things about her personality that I really liked that I think like had, the Elizabeth Bennet kind of like feminist heroine vibes. But there were some other aspects, like, not really in terms of like her views on anything necessarily, but just like her blandness, which I think I talked about previously in this vlog. But, in comparison, a lot of the other characters are more interesting, so it all kind of balances out, but it's like we're getting her first person perspective. So, we very much see everything through her bland eyes. It is unique in the sense of, I think I've already like said this, spoiler, and I think it's pretty common knowledge, but like if you don't know anything about this book, I'm gonna put an emoji here and mute me until it goes away. The whole wife in the attic thing, I'm sure was really shocking in the 1800s. It's like, that's such a cool plot line, and it just didn't, I don't know. A lot of the rest of the story, I guess, to me just felt kind of generic, and, that was like the plot point that I'd always heard about that like made it, made Jane Eyre stand out to me and made me want to read it. But I do wish it was hit a little harder, and that the repercussions of that didn't so negatively affect Jane Eyre. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the ending and kind of like her relationship with Rochester. So if you don't want to know anything about that, mute me again until the emoji goes away. I'm not going to go into like a lot of detail, but I'm going to be talking generally about it, so do with that what you will. She liked Rochester from the beginning, and we're not even going to go into their age gap because that's a product of the times. But just in terms of like, she so clearly had feelings for him, and he did for her, but the fact that he lied, or he didn't lie, he lied by omission, didn't tell her about his wife in the attic, is really gross. And why wouldn't you tell that to someone that you're about to marry? Why wouldn't you tell that to someone who you love? If you can't trust the person you're about to marry with that secret, then why are you marrying them? Because of that whole wife in the attic situation, like, her life gets so destroyed. Yeah, so I couldn't help but hate Rochester while Jane was like starving to death and freezing to death and truly struggling to survive because she needed to get away from him. And so it makes me hate Rochester because he's the reason for her suffering. And in my opinion, she wasn't treated nicely by either of the people who wanted to marry her. The fact that she went back to Rochester at the end and she's taking care of him and he's clearly like still in love with her and she forgives him and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's nice. And like, I'm happy Jane's happy. But it was just kind of annoying because like some of her thoughts when she went back to Rochester was like, when he was asking her like what had happened, where had she been, like she didn't take any money when she ran off and he was super worried about her. She's like downplaying her suffering so that he doesn't feel as bad, which I'm like, he deserves to feel bad. So it was just kind of a weird like backtracking of like, oh yeah, I'm just a dumb girl, like my bad. And Rochester's like, yeah, you are, but it's okay. And I'm like, you're not though. Like, Rochester gaslit her. He caused her so much pain and suffering. And so I can't say that I'm happy they ended up together. But overall, like, general story-wise, I did enjoy it, and I am very eager to watch the Michael Fassbender movie adaptation. I'm actually going to watch it tonight with my friend who has been waiting for me to finish Jane Eyre so that we can watch that together. I have a crush on Michael Fassbender, like, it's going to be a good time. I love a good sweeping romance, and I think it's just looking at it from a 2021 perspective is kind of like, please don't be with this guy. Like, he's disgusting. but in a general romantic sense, I'm like, oh, that was cute. So I hope that makes sense. I will keep you posted on my thoughts of the movie adaptation, because like I do like the Sense and Sensibility movie adaptation with Emma Thompson more than the book, and I love every Pride and Prejudice adaptation I've ever seen more than the book, so I feel like Jane Eyre is probably going to be the same. I am really excited though. I'm going to start Wuthering Heights, the audiobook, next, I think. I'm rereading that one. I read it in high school and I really loved it, so I'm interested to see like which one I prefer. Like, am I a Wuthering Heights stan or am I a Jane Eyre stan? Not that I think I would stan Jane Eyre because I did give it a 3, but you know, like, it's fun to choose a side. It's fun to choose a Bronte sister. Or I could just go neutral and choose like the Bronte brother or the other sister they had, and remain neutral. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Jane Eyre. Sorry that took forever. Yeah, as far as the other things I'm reading right now, I got halfway through The Death of Jane Lawrence, really loving it, but then my ebook got yoinked back to the library because I did not finish it before my like hold got removed or got taken away. So I think I have like a 2-week wait, 2 weeks or less wait to get it back. So that's on hold right now. Kind of annoying, but it's fine because I'll just start something new on there. And yeah, my next audiobook is going to be Wuthering Heights. That's only 12 hours as opposed to 19. So, and I've read it before, so I'll probably speed it up. This one, I usually listen to audiobooks like at least 1.5 speed, but this one I just listened to on normal speed because I wanted to make sure that I fully comprehended everything that was going on. But I do think Wuthering Heights, I can speed it up a little bit. So anyway, this is a very long update. I will talk to you later. Hello, it is the next day. I didn't end up watching Jane Eyre, so I'll probably have my thoughts about the movie in the next reading vlog. But I did start Wuthering Heights. I am on page 50, chapter 7. And I'm really liking it. It's just darker. Like from the beginning, it's darker. So yeah, I'm so curious to, at the end of this, to figure out which one I prefer, this or Jane Eyre, because I think everyone I know in my real life who's read both, they all prefer Jane Eyre. But at least so far, like the first 50 pages of this compared to the first 50 pages of Jane Eyre, I like this a lot better. And like I said, I read it like 10 years ago, so I really don't remember a lot of plot points. So it's basically like I'm reading it for the first time, except I kind of know all the characters already. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. It is Monday. This vlog was really just like 4 really long clips of me monologuing about my reading. I'm sorry there wasn't much else going on. If you have read both Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, please let me know which one you prefer. I am very curious, and I will talk to you guys later. Actually, before I go, we are decorating for Christmas tomorrow, and so I'm taking down my fall decorations tomorrow, but I figured I might as well show you them before I take them down because they're very cute. So we have these little this little squirrel girl and this little fancy squirrel lad. I love his top hat. That's a centerpiece for my wedding. And then this cute little, like, there's one of Cindy's toys. Cute little garland. But my pride and joy, honestly, is this gnome and this gnome. I love them. They're like a little gnome family. If I turn these on, I have these little leaf garland that lights up, and then 2 little gold pumpkins. So yeah, I have a lot of Halloween decor, but of course that I already have taken down, and I just put up like some generic fall stuff for November. But yeah, just wanted to show you because they're cute, and I sometimes rewatch my old vlogs and it's always fun to, like, you know, revisit things. So anyway, okay, this is now the end of the video. If you made it all the way to the end, the second end, leave a pancake emoji in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!